Well, I had to redo it.
I pulled the notes off of the staff drive, and so it's easy to forget that you're on the staff drive and not your own copy of them, and then if you write over them and save it, then that's like not the one that everybody has to look at. So I had to fix it. Systems of linear inequalities. The last section. This is the last skill test too. That's what's on the back side of that skill that you guys started the other day. So we're going to do this tomorrow after we've done a little practice with it. So here we go. Need it. All talking stop here. Conversations start. You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Solution is an ordered pair that makes all the inequalities true. So what we're going to be doing today is graphing two linear inequalities on the same graphing grid and then finding the overlapping shaded region. So we're going to find an overlapping shaded region. This is, there's a title for this. I'm going to see it. In business, it's called linear programming is what it's called. So it's like you do a bunch of different inequalities and you want to find the overlapping region. That's like your profit region or whatever. Like, if you can stay in that region, and you're good to go. Your business is going to make money. So, here's what it looks like. We take the first one here. Y is greater than 2x minus 4. Place a dot at negative 4 for the y-intercept. Go up 2 and write 1 from there. I've got a dashed line. And then here's where you want to kind of, there's a couple different ways to approach this. What I do is I just kind of think about, okay, which region would be shaded. What some students will do, they'll use different colors sometimes or like shade real lightly with their pencil. But if I were to just shade this one, it would be going this direction. So let's just put some little arrows on here, and I'm not going to fully shade it. The reason for that is that I want the common region for both of these inequalities. Does that make sense? So I don't want to shade it yet. And in the textbook, they use I think fluorescent, like a yellow for the common region or whatever. And then on the worksheet stuff here, it's just shaded a little dark. The darkest shading is the common region. Okay. So there's that one. Let's go ahead and graph this other one right here. So we have a y-intercept at 4. A slope of down 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a solid line. And then we would be shading below that solid line, so it would be going this direction. You with me? So just draw little arrows maybe on there, or with your pencil you could shade real lightly. And then the solution set, we want to shade it in real dark. Make sure. So it's got to be above the blue line and below the green line, both of those together. So above the blue line and below the green line would be all this stuff right there. And it just keeps on going in that direction. So that's the overlapping shaded region. On the skill test, you're going to be asked to give me a coordinate that's in the solution set. So in this case, the easiest coordinate probably to give me in the solution set would be maybe 0, 0. And then you may be asked to check it and demonstrate that it works for both. So 0, 0, if I plug in 0 here and 0 for x, you get 0 is greater than negative 4. So that checks out. 2 times 0 is 0, minus 4 is negative 4. And then if I plug in 0 here, 0 here, I've got 0 is less than or equal to 4, and that's also true. So looks like I shaded in the right direction. 0, 0 is one of a few solutions. Actually, one of infinitely many, right? So there's infinitely many. So that's what you're going to be asked to do on that skill tomorrow. We'll do it towards the end of the period, and then next week you'll get Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 more tries on that skill. All right. Any questions on that? graphing a system of inequalities. Here we go. We're gonna this looks just like the skill test. Like one of them is probably already solved for you in slope-intercept form. The other one's not. So the first one's easy to graph. Dot at -3 for the y-intercept. Slope is up 2, right 1 from that point. Dashed line, because there's no line underneath that inequality symbol. So it's dashed line. Less than would be down and to the right. So I'm going to put little arrows here just to show you what I'm thinking. It's down and to the right. This one you're going to have to go ahead and solve it by subtracting 2x, or get it in slope-intercept form first. So y is greater than -2x plus 2. So that's a y-intercept of 2. And a slope of -2, so I'd go down 2 and right 1. And then do a dashed line through there. And then if I were to shade just the green one, it says its y is greater than that line. So it's got to be below the blue one. So down and to the right from the blue one, up and to the right for the green one. So it's all of this region in here. Could you name a coordinate that's somewhere in that shaded region on your picture? I want to be careful. You don't want to name one that's like right on one of these lines, but what's one that's for sure in this region? If you go over far enough here. Anybody have an idea of one that would for sure be in that region? 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4, 1 would definitely be in there. 4, 1. So a solution, something in the solution set would be 4, 1. If I plug in 1 here and 4 here, 1 is less than 8 minus 3 is 5. That's true. If I plugged in 1 here and 4 here, 1 is greater than or equal to -8 plus 2 is -6. So that checks out. So 4, 1 is a solution to that. We just checked it. Why don't you try the one below? All right, guys, good job on that. Now you try. Let's go the other direction here. Okay, so this one, the yellow, we're going to go, I believe it's the yellow highlight is the common area, I believe. So we're going to go with that, all right? So on yours, see the, actually, maybe it's the green. Let's go with the green because that's the darkly shaded on yours. So guys, we'll go with this green over here, the most darkly shaded on yours, okay? So that we'll call that the common area. Let's see here. We got to work backwards. So what you have to do is come up with an equation for this dashed line and an equation or inequality for the blue line. So we've got y. The dashed line will be a strict less than. Let's see if we can figure out the slope of this dashed line. If I placed a dot right here and a dot right here, I would go down 2 and right 1, 2, 3, 4, or down 1 and right 2, either one. But you end up with the -1/2 x, and then it looks like it goes through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's one of the inequalities. There's one of the inequalities is this dashed line. You've got to write the equation or inequality of the line, basically. So figure out what the y-intercept is. There's my b. It's like we're writing this in y equals mx plus b form. The b is 5. The slope is down 1, right 2, it looks like. On some of these, it may be a little hard to tell, but if you are close, it's fine, because you're trying to figure out where their line that they drew in is crossing, or what the significant points are here. You can usually tell where it crosses the y-axis. What about this one down here? We have y is, it looks like, greater than or equal to I can see the b is a -1. That's pretty clear here. B is a -1. It looks to me like it's just 1, x. Yeah, I would agree. So just x minus 1. So that looks good. Why don't you guys try this one right here? See if you can write an equation for it. Looks like yours, the darkly shaded, would be like that far right triangle, you think? So let's go with this, the green. That's a different color than up here, so I don't know what you're intending. But on yours, let's go with the darkly shaded on yours. That's probably what I did with mine, which it looks like is that far right triangle. Just see if you can get an equation or any set of inequalities for that. And then you can do your summary, whatever you think. You might want to add this to your summary. I added this to the summary yesterday, but this has been helpful for some students. The above and below thing.